Hey, good morning. It's a little bit after 7 o'clock, and today we are going to smoke a couple of briskets. So I'm going to show you what we're doing to set up, and I'll give you the recipe for the rub just a little bit later. All right, so here's the smoker. It's a Meadow Creek. I think it's a SQ36. At any rate, bought this in 2018, and it's basically, I guess, the cheapest smoker that Meadow Creek makes, and it was $1,400 at that time. And my wife looked it up yesterday, and this same smoker is like double. It's almost $2,800. That's insane. So I've already started the fire in here. What I did was I used the chimney and a couple pieces of newspaper, and then put some lump charcoal on top. Let that get going for about 20 minutes or so, and then I dumped it in here, and I've added some charcoal, as you can see, to the little bit of charcoal that I had in there, and I'm just letting that build up a little bit. I'm gonna spread it out some more, and then I'm going to add some mesquite. So mesquite's pretty traditional for smoking briskets, at least out west. Out back east, we use whatever. I'm going to be using a combination of oak and mesquite. So this is how the smoker looks when it's opened up. And if you look inside, there's a pan in the bottom there that's removable. Then there's this second rack, also removable, and then this top rack, also removable. And you can put water or whatever in the bottom pan. You can actually charcoal grill out of it if you want, and you don't want to use the smoker box. Then I'm going to get rid of this top pan here. It just stands right on top. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put the briskets on this second pan. My fear is if I put one on the first rack and one on the top rack, that the mass of the briskets, and it's two half briskets, it's not a whole, are going to cause a block in some of the heat or whatever. And I'm not worried about the smoke, but then it's going to be a long cook as it is. It's going to be about a 10-hour cook. So it's a little bit after 7, and I figure it'll be around 5 or 6, because the briskets are now being rubbed down. So I'm going to show you what happens with that. And I'm using B&B lump charcoal. Been using this for several years now. Only one place to get it around here that I know of, and I really like it. When you're using lump charcoal, it's like this. So when you're using lump charcoal, it's irregular. The pieces are large, small, medium, in between. And it's literally hardwood, mostly oak, I'm told. And it is a different way of doing things. Over here, I've got mesquite. These were bought at a local hardware store because mesquite doesn't grow around here. We grow pecan, we grow oak, we got apple, we got cherry, we got everything local except hickory and mesquite. And there's hickory around here too. I just don't know where it is. It's not as prevalent around here as the pecan is. We've got like 10 pecan trees, so we're doing really well with that. I don't ever have to outsource that. At any rate, we're getting ready to throw some mesquite on here and get set up. So that's where we are. We're getting ready, and go check on the brisket prep. I don't know if I showed you this, but I did want to show you the thermometer on this. It's really good. I like it a lot. Of course, and you got your low range. The heat's just starting to come up now. And then you got your smoke range, which looks to be about, 175-ish to the 260 range. And then you got your barbecue range from like 260 to 350, and your grill range from 400 and up. It's just a guide, but I kind of go by it. I usually try to stay around 250, 275, a little on the hot side of smoke. But it gets as low as 225, and that's fine. I just average it out over the time, over the life of the cook. All right, we're ready to put the rub on. Mixing it up now. So what's in here is 1/3 of a cup of garlic, 1/3 of a cup of onion, 1/3 of a cup of salt, 1/3 of a cup of fresh ground black pepper, and 1/3 of a cup of light brown sugar. And then half of that, like 1/6 of a cup, you got to just kind of eyeball it, because I don't know of any measurements that do like 1/6, but we did like half of that of paprika. So we're going to mix all of this up and rub this down. So here's one of the briskets, and it's looking pretty good. Just got thawed out a couple of days ago. It's been in the fridge, and they've been washed off and patted dry. And here's the second brisket, considerably larger. That's why this cook is going to take a while. It's going to take probably 10 hours at least. So it'll be probably, by the time I get this going, around 6:30 before they come off. So here it is mixed up. Now, this is a lot more than 1/3 of a cup of the ingredients that I showed. That's because we have 2 briskets, so we doubled it for this particular case. We're also going to post this rub recipe down in the description below the video. All right, giving them a good rub down here, just to get it coated really good on both sides of each brisket. And I think by the time this gets done, we'll carry them out there, and the temp will probably be up on the smoker, and we'll get them going in. So I set this white table up. This is just one of those folding tables like you get from the big box store or Bass Pro or one of those places. Set it up close. It's not right on top of it. I'm going to put the briskets on here. And I've got some thermometers that I'm going to use that I got for Christmas several years ago. It's got 4 probes capability, so I'm going to try to track it that way and see how that works. Okay, we're getting real close to temp here. I'm at 200, and as soon as it gets to 250, I'm going to open the lid and put those briskets in. Okay, the briskets are rubbed down. So you got a big one here and a much smaller one here. I might have to use the top rack. If I do that, then I'm going to have to put the big one on the bottom and the smaller one on the top. So here we are, we're approaching 300 now. That's what I want, because when I open this top, I'm going to lose a bunch of heat, and it's going to take a little while for it to build back up. All right, here we go. We got mesquite in there. And I typically go fat side up, but to be honest with you, there was barely any fat on this thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with the top rack. And I put the smaller brisket on the top. I think I'll be okay here like this. I may have to move it a little bit. All right, we're starting to cook. See, it dropped down to 275, or actually 225 is what it dropped down to. So we will get started and we'll see what happens. Okay, I did install the probes, 2 of them. Not sure if you'll be able to see this with all this ambient light here, but the small brisket is at 52 degrees Fahrenheit. The large brisket is at 64, and I just got that, got those probes installed. So they had warmed up a little teeny bit. They've been sitting on the counter for a little bit, but you can see the beef chart and the pork and the fowl and the fish chart for temp guide. Is kind of pretty cool. I know that I need to be at 205 for brisket. I'm around 200 right now. I lost a little bit when I opened it up and put the briskets in there, and I need to be around 205 when it gets done. So it's going to be 9-10 hours. So it's probably going to be around 6 o'clock before this stuff is ready. We have like family coming over, so it's going to be probably at least 12-15 people. So 2 briskets in this case is not going to be overkill. Okay, so there's probably a couple things I need to tell you about the smoker while we're smoking here. The thing about the smoker is that in a stick burner, which is what they call this, a stick burner, it's the thing about charcoal when you use that is it burns a lot longer than the wood does. Now, the wood burns a lot hotter. So you can use like either or. A lot of people do. I use a mixture. So I'll keep enough charcoal in there to keep coals going. But then I start adding the wood, and I add a lot more wood. Now, the wood itself will create coals, but by nature of the fact that the wood is wood and not charcoal, it's going to burn up quicker, but it's going to burn hotter. So that's why I use a combination. And when you do it, you can use whichever you want. The other thing about a stick burner like this one, or what they call a stick burner it's got a side box on it, is that you have to watch it. It's not like a Traeger or one of these other fancy ones where you literally put the pellets in the hopper and set it and forget it kind of thing until, it's done, and then it comes out perfect. A lot of people are cool like that. I have no issue with those. For me, it's just as much about the journey as it is the destination in this particular case. So I enjoy playing with the temperature. I enjoy watching it. Now, you say a 10-hour cook. Are you going to burn the entire day for 10 hours sitting out there, sitting on top of this smoker? No, I'm not. Typically, since I've done it, a lot over the last 5-6 years, is that you can get your setup right, and then once it achieves temp, I watch it the first half an hour or so to make sure that it achieves temp, and then I check it once every hour, and I'll throw in a few pieces of charcoal and a few pieces of wood, and I just keep it going. However hot you want it's going to make the determination as to whether or not you're going to put a lot of charcoal and a lot of wood in there, or whether you're just going to use wood and just keep it burning, serious business like that. I typically set it up, and then I've sort of figured out over time it takes about an hour and it'll hold temp. I just come back by and check it. If it looks like it's on the way down, then I'm going to throw a little bit more charcoal and or wood on there to get the temp back up where I want it to be. And then I'll let it ride and then I walk away, and I come back in an hour and I do the same thing. And I do this, basically all day long. But I can do other things while I'm doing that, so it's not like I'm glued to the smoker. You just have to keep an eye on it. It's something you got to be cognizant of when you do that. And it works out perfect for me. I don't know about you. Your mileage may vary, but at any rate, that's some handy dandy facts about using a stick burner type smoker like this. Now, when you get into these really big monster smokers like some folks have. These things be 10, 15, 20, or $40,000 for the smoker. It's a whole other world that's some serious production smoking there. You know, you're smoking a whole pig instead of, you know, just a couple shoulders, or you're smoking a bunch of shoulders or a bunch of briskets. That's competition type barbecue, you know, that sort of thing. I'm just, you know, we're just lowly homesteaders. We like smoked meat half a dozen times a year, so this is what we do. And we do pulled pork, we do turkey, we haven't done fish yet out here, but we want to do fish, and we do chicken, turkey, pork, these kind of things, and of course beef. And venison I did years and years ago with a whole different setup, and it was okay. Tasted okay, but it didn't. It was really. I didn't do it right. I didn't put anything on it at all, not even salt and pepper. And I smoked it for like 9 hours, and I probably should have smoked it for like 6. So it was a little tough, shall we say. Dried out, I guess, is probably the right word. At any rate, that's what I do. So you can, your mileage may vary, and you may want to do something a different way, and it's all good. So while I'm waiting for things to settle down a little bit, I wanted to show you a little bit about this smoker. First of all, it's on pneumatic tires. It's a really cool smoker. I liked it. It's of course got the setup. You can barely read it on here, but it is the SQ36. So that's the one that you'll find online. So down here on the firebox, it's got these sliding gates that you can open up, and I open them up usually about 1.5, 2 inches on either side. There's the other one. And then in the front, of course, it's got this toggle lock that you punch it and it'll keep the door closed. That's a heat sink. That's really not my initial. Looks like my initial. I said when we bought it, they personalized this particular one just for me. You also look up here, and you got other vents that you can open. That's on the main box, and then on the top, you got another one, and around here, you got another one. So you can see you can open these up. You got 2 more down here below the chimney. You can see it there. You can see that one and that one. So there's a bunch of different ways you can play with this thing and get it vented to your preferences and how you like to do the smoking. So we're going to continue on. I did want to give a quick mention on why this is rusted out the way that it is, or it appears to be really rusted out. It did have that paint, that high heat paint on it. When I brought it home, it all looked like this. It was nice and gorgeous looking. And the instruction from the company, Meadow Creek, said that while they do put a high heat paint on it, the paint will probably dissolve off in your first use. And it did. Now this stuff is really, really strong. I mean, it's like 3/16 1/4 inch thick on the firebox. The rest of it's not quite that thick, but it's pretty thick. Probably, I don't know, maybe 1/8. But I'm not worried about this rusting out anytime soon, because it's not going to. It's solid as a rock. It's just because of all the heat that gets generated that just melted. And I've threatened to paint it a couple of times. I'm like, why? Because it's going to come right back off. Okay, the cook is over. The party's over, and this is literally all that was left. It's not a lot. It's beef is heavy, so it's probably a good 3 pounds maybe of what was left. The other big thing was it took just a little over 8 hours. I had thought that it was going to be fully 10 hours cook time, but it ended up being just about 8.5. And because one of them, the one on the top rack, the smaller brisket got done a little bit later, so I pulled the big one, and then about 30 minutes later, the other one was done. I did cook it a little hotter this time. I went from between 250, maybe 275, because I was worried about the 10-hour long cook with folks being hungry and such and such and such. And they really enjoyed it. Every single person complimented it, said it was delicious. And I'm really glad it turned out the way that it did. So here's another shot. Let me zoom in so you can see. I'm not sure if you can see the smoke ring. It was very prevalent in there. Yeah, there you go. You can see the smoke ring right there, and right in here. It was very good. These particular briskets, and I had thought that it was one brisket cut in two, but it was actually two briskets because we had one left over from the previous cow that we got, and then we had gotten another cow in March, so we actually had a lot left over from the brisket, and so it was the whole brisket. The other guy that split the cow with us did not want the brisket, so we got both of those briskets, and it was from those two cows, and it's Angus and Texas Longhorn, and everybody really liked it. It was delicious. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole shooting match of the brisket that the two briskets that we hot smoked. I wish I would have gotten shots of me taking them out of the smoker. It was really nice. They had a real good bark on them, and the mixture that we used, I talked about the recipe for the rub earlier. We're going to post that down in the description of this video. And once again, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gives you some ideas on what you can do. And thank you so much for visiting Variety Homestead. You have a great one.